We are privileged to have amongst us Professor Prof. Mukhopadhyay, formerly Professor of Philosophy, Jadavpur University. He was also a visiting professor of the Banaras Hindu University and a National Fellow of the Indian Council of Philosophical Research. An erudite scholar of Indian philosophical thoughts, especially Nyaya system, Professor Mukhopadhyay is also the Shantanu Sengupta Professor of Indology and Research at the Ramakrishna Mission Institute of Culture. May we now request Professor Mukhopadhyay to deliver the keynote address.
Sadashiva Samarambhan Shankaracharya Mattama Sri Gopinatha Padantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asang Vihayo Purihritta Parasya Nindam Papi Rutincha Shunivachya Manasyamadham Adhar Hrit Kamal Madhya Vatan Paresham Varanasi Purapatim Bhaja Vishwanath. In the remaining period of the 30 minutes allotted to me, I will be speaking actually about a couple of points. From the paper I already submitted, it's a full paper, but I am not at all good at reading out from the written document, so I will speak a few points. I will be basically interested in discussing 2 points, related points, one of which is more general and the other is more specific. The more general issue is how do we understand and clarify the logic of celebrating anniversaries of great events and personalities. Unless I do that, what happens is this: that such celebration becomes a formality, a ritual, and devoid of any life in it. So the crucial question is how we can make it more effective, more real, more living. This is one side of the problem. The second related, more specific problem is to clarify and bring to our explicit awareness where academic professionals or professional academicians fit in this celebration of great minds. Well, I'll be speaking about it. I start by confessing some 3 difficulties I face. Difficulties are real facts. First, I am not a great scholar of Swami Vivekananda's literature. Second, I don't want to repeat the points I made on another occasion a few months back and given it a written form and already submitted. Ramakrishna's ideas and its impact on the present society. I am not going to repeat them. The third and the more crucial thing is this: Swami Vivekananda is an overexposed subject. Already too much has been written on him, many discussions have been made, every day the literature is growing, many more things are being done. What is there that we can say about it which will be not just a repetition or just keeping a sort of formality? This actually engages me to find out a space where we can really intervene as academicians. The first point to develop is to concentrate on this particular thing or aspect. The Swami Vivekananda is an overexposed subject. He is known all over the world. His name is on every lips. Hardly anyone is there who doesn't know him. And lot of efforts are being made to propagate his ideas. Under the circumstances, what new things, necessary things we can say which will not be mere repetition. Now, it is actually paradoxical that subject which is overexposed tends to become underexposed. This paradoxical situation has happened. It seems to me, may not be, I prove it. In case of every great man, and also perhaps with Swami Vivekananda, it's still happening. This paradox generates a few other paradoxes which I'll be talking about presently. And it is in this paradoxical situation which creates both an opportunity and a challenge for the professional academicians. It is here they must find that actual opportunity for intervention, and at the same time this paradoxical situation always resists any real, sincere, committed academic intervention. So let us understand why I say that overexposed subject tends to develop into underexposed subject. The reason is this, that what we gain in quantity, we tend to lose in quality. More and more we write about it. Then, under pressure of writing, what we write is less and less. But this is a very common thing. What happens is this, when you study a great point, and you are fascinated by it, we try to or tend to study him selectively, comparatively overexposed. That is, we tend to ignore many other people, many other great personalities. To give a quick example, it is not very common that you observe anniversaries of Madhusudana Saraswati or even Bankim Chandra the way, or even K.C. Bhattacharya, the way we do observe Swami Vivekananda's anniversary. Is there no logic about it? There is. And the logic is this, Swami Vivekananda was both by choice and by providence a public figure in a sense in which none of these other people were public figures. That may be one reason. So such celebration is not just a matter of Ramakrishna Mission organizing it or ICP organizing it, it's a public demand. And we, the academic community, is a small fraction of the greater community which we call public. So now here there is a problem for the academician to reconcile and harmonize their public commitment or public stance with the professional commitment. How can I do that? I've just told you about the case of Swami Vivekananda vis-a-vis people like Aurobindo or K.C. Bhattacharya. We can very easily say that they are not public figures of the stature of Swami Vivekananda. But I give you another example. We are right this day celebrating many other centenaries and 150th birth anniversaries. Of course, I am not mentioning P.C. Sarkar. But there is another great man who was an educationist, social worker, nationalist, politician. He was just 3 years senior to Swami Vivekananda, and his 150th birth anniversary we are celebrating. But when we come here in Bengal to discuss about it, hardly we ever remember that man. 8th December, I was delivering a lecture on the celebration of this other great mind. And I said, you are celebrating 150th birth anniversary. You never mentioned about Swami Vivekananda. Also also we are celebrating his birth, 150th birth anniversary. How it comes and what does this signify? I tried to argue with them, perhaps you could say, that Swami Vivekananda was based in Kolkata and that man was based in Allahabad or Benares. That argument doesn't work actually. But he was a graduate from Calcutta University and he belonged to a particular genre of people with whom or about his ideas Sri Aurobindo wrote. So all this we tend to forget. That means, we study selectively. More and more we study selectively. So this exposed, the feature of being overexposed actually is a feature of underexposed. Why? The reason is this: a man cannot be understood unless we can understand his mind, and the mind cannot be understood unless we can understand his time. It is not that he can be understood isolated way. The entire scenario, socio-political, religious, that has to be gone into very seriously, and that we normally don't do or fail to do. So this one aspect why I say that to understand the mind, for example, in both the cases of these two great men, very great stalwarts, how we forget, for example, when we think of round table conference, we think of Mahatma, but we forget Mahamana, who was also present and made significant contribution. Similarly, when we think of Chicago Conference, religion, parliament of religions, Vivekananda remember, but many other people might have been there from Bengal or India. So, academicians can really intervene and bring out the real entire living, vibrant, socio-religious, cultural context only against which we can really understand Swami Vivekananda. So when we speak of Swami Vivekananda, the paradoxical situation what is generated is that more and more a person becomes well known, he becomes more, we tend to popularize him, and in the process, the real man, the real thought, his commitment, his ideal, they become marginalized. And the academician should intervene here to recover the real Vivekananda or Mahamana or whoever it is. But this process of over-popularization, they don't allow you, the academician or any senior serious scholar, to do that. For the reason is this, that once a person has been a real person marginalized by his popularity or popularization, everyone poses that he has understood him. So there is no need for a really concerted effort to understand him, as if everyone understands him. And in the process, actually they are not really presenting Vivekananda. They are actually talking about themselves. So Vivekananda we are forgetting, this Mahamana we are forgetting, we are thinking all the time what we imagine them to be. So it is a real task ahead of us. I think one of the tasks, maybe there are many, to resist any attempt to popularization, marginalize the real. This is one thing. And in this process, what we have to do is, I think it comes to only two major projects. One is recovering the real Vivekananda is impossible unless we can renew lifelong mission of Swami Vivekananda, and that was committing ourselves to the real India. He spent all his life to become the worthy son of the great tradition. He wanted to rebuild the entire society and the country and the world. And for that purpose, access Indian tradition for the insight, for the values, and for the principles. And we are tending to forget this special mission of Swami Vivekananda. I can give number of examples. Just to give one example or two. In the enthusiasm of popularizing Swami Vivekananda, sometimes what we do, we don't allow anything quote unquote negative to be given a hearing, and anything quote unquote positive is accepted without any inquiry. A great mind, a great literary man, very great scholar, he contributed a paper in a book on epistemology and anthology. Many papers, good papers are there. And the paper is entitled Swamiji's Conception of Knowledge. And there, Swamiji was represented as making some comments on Kant or Kant's conception. Please read it. I think this does not do justice to Swami Vivekananda or to Kant or even to that subject. We could have avoided it. Similarly, many such occasions happens when we do not care to present the rigor of it. So, where we can really help, if we cannot bring into the mainstream of the academic enterprise, the mainstream of rational inquiry, of views and opinions, missions and life of great men who are not, have made available to us, enriched our culture, if we cannot give them a rigorous analytical formulation and a rational defense and theoretical underpinning, then there is also the danger of demeaning this culture. So how we can, this is I think the best opportunity to enrich both this tradition of the mainstream academic effort, and then, on the other hand, the real substantive prophetic visions that come from such great mind. We are falling apart, we need to reconcile. And this opportunity is much more available in Vivekananda and Aurobindo. For unlike Ramakrishna or Raman Maharshi, they are not supposed to have made any direct contribution which is of academic value, but Vivekananda and Sri Aurobindo, they also made some concrete contribution which is directly relevant to the academic field. Therefore, in this context, what we are supposed to do is to change our attitude to the past. I will not repeat it, it is there already in the paper, you see. And two things are there to appreciate the real past, to make it living to us today. We have to change it, believe that the great and the departed are still living. We need to converse with them. And if we can really converse with them, maybe then we can become themselves. Which prevents us from doing this is modern individualism. Fortunately, Swami Vivekananda was completely free from that. However, Swamiji, unlike his great master, had also partially contributed to our confusion about him. He is so difficult to understand. for various reasons. One is this: Swami Vivekananda was always wanting us to be aware of the value of that old tradition, the entire Vedic tradition. He never wanted us to be stuck with Swami Vivekananda. He wanted always to look at our own tradition, renew our understanding of it, commit ourselves to it. But he did it in a way which confused ordinary men. He wanted to be, as his master said, Swami Ramakrishna, that great men like holes in the wall. They do not block your vision. They want you to allow beyond them and to great horizon, span the entire horizon. That was Swami.